Hi. As more of Hillary Clinton's State Department emails are spewed forth for public consumption, her lead in the polls is shrinking. Will any nuggets from her gaping mailbox ever make her look good? I don't think so, and it's problematic. Will Ron, he's a Daily Beast Washington bureau chief, the Daily Beast Washington bureau chief. He is here tonight, along with Michael Malice, who's written one of my favorite books from the 19th century. It's called Dear Reader, and you should read it immediately, dear. And Michael Moynihan, Daily Beast columnist, multi-talented and multicultural. Gentlemen, welcome to you all. Michael Malice, I'm going to start with you. Do you think that you have said that this falls into the quantum indeterminacy, that her emails somehow are in this magical never land where they're not stamped ever, and one just assumes that all the information she has received on her server was never classified?
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Their claim is that because these are not marked, that they're not classified. You can't really classify an email as soon as it's generated. You're not going to be stamping the monitor. And for someone who's going to be Secretary of State to assume that none of the information she's getting is classified when it's international is absolutely insane. And I called it for over a year and a half with you that America's mother-in-law is going to be a walking calamity, and she's being beaten in the party primary in Iowa, New Hampshire by someone who isn't even in her party. That takes a special amount of skill to be that much of a loser. Yeah,
and Bernie Sanders, I mean, he's absolutely right. You know, here's an independent and avowed socialist who is conveniently Democratic for this run. And Bernie says, you know, that the Hillary emails have nothing to do with the fact that she's tanking. But is it a case of my dog ate my emails?
It's a little bit. You see right now, I mean, like, the email thing is so convoluted and I think hard for people to follow at this point. While at the same time, it is a reminder that what you get with the Clintons, which is just that kind of like traveling clown show and all of the scandals and the sketchiness that come along with them. So then you have a guy like Bernie Sanders who's not like electable on a national level. At the same time, he's been able to lock down the entire anti-Hillary wing. Yeah, I know. It's a pure protest vote, but you have to assume that in the end, most of those people are going to line up behind Hillary Clinton when she is the nominee. That is the thing we don't know yet, but this latest email release would indicate that, yes, it's somewhat likely that somebody's going to have to jump on the grenade for Secretary Clinton, and we'll see who that person is.
I think that person is Anthony Weiner.
You think
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think he's jumping on the grenade because I don't think he knows the definition of the word grenade. And I think he might believe it's a 22-year-old co-ed. So he's
that's the phrase that the kids use. I'm going to go jump on the grenade. Is that right? No? What, seriously? I don't know. The girl that I just met on the Snapchat told me that.
I know. Wipe her server clean.
I think
with the club
right here. This is like so unbelievably convoluted. Is that, you know, these B5 classifications? It sounds like vitamins. I'm trying to. So I was actually searching these the other day when I went onto the State Department's website, and they're literally all emails from Sid Blumenthal about his son's book. It's like everything you look at, you know, Sid Vicious, the old consigliere of the Clintons, just hitting them constantly with emails, and it's really funny to watch how little effect that this had, because she's going on Jon Stewart and saying, you know, Hamas is responsible for the war, and it's just literally 75,000 emails about how much he hates Israel, and so it's like there's so much going on here, and nobody cares. But Bernie Sanders, I think, is right, actually. That's not actually having a huge impact on her. It's other things. It's her personality. It's the fact that she's been around for ages.
She's not tanking. He's waxing.
Yes, I think that's right, and I kind of like Bernie Sanders for that. I mean, he's like a teacher on an episode of Welcome Back, Kotter or something. He's like just yelling at you, and he's
no,
like
he's
clever.
The principal on Welcome Back, Kotter. He totally is.
Kind of little. What was his name?
I don't even know.
Someone tweet that at me. Little
Go ahead. It's at MC Moynihan.
Yes, that's right.
And it is so much fun. We're just getting started. And by the way, the whole not Secret Service, Secretary of State and the whistleblower. I don't understand the reclassification. I just know that the flavor of yogurt is nothing compared to its depth. What does that mean?
Oh, it got deep, man. That's deep.
Isn't that heavy?
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
You blew my mind.
CNN is changing its criteria for the Republican presidential debate that's happening later this month, which will likely let Carly Fiorina snag a podium spot on the main stage. Well, now any candidate ranking in the top 10 between August 7th and September 10th will be included, and which I think is fantastic, because there's still so much that can happen between now and September 10th that you could have Jim Gilmore on the main stage if he sets the world on fire with his great ideas.
Maybe if he literally sets the world on fire, then he'd be on that stage. But Carly Fiorina is a failure. She failed as a Senate candidate. She failed as a CEO. It makes as much sense for her to be president of the U.S. as president for McDonald's, some other industry. The last two non-politicians who were elected president were Eisenhower and USS Grant. And yes, it's great that you can produce printer cartridges. I'm a Rand person. I'm all for production in the moral sense. But that's not as impressive as beating the Nazis and the Confederacy, respectively. She has no resume to run for president.
Having said that, I am excited to see her on the stage. I want to see her rabble-rouse. I want to see how she deals with Trump face-to-face, because she did a good job from the first debate.
Sure.
On the earlier stage.
Yeah, let her run her maw. You know, that's fine.
All right. Well, who will get left out in this new format? Who is losing their spot on the stage?
So it's probably either going to be Rand Paul or Chris Christie. Chris Christie has been up a little bit in the polls lately. He's been aggressive in New Hampshire, especially right now. He was on Outnumbered on the Fox News channel earlier today.
He was.
Yes.
I was there sitting next to him.
Meanwhile,
we had an interesting discussion about marijuana during the commercial break.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to reveal?
Discussion.
Yeah, no, I told him, I said, Governor, I leaned in and I said, Governor, you really need to stop with the pot stuff. I said, you really need to stop. And he said, that's fine. States can have legal marijuana once it's federally legal. And I said, that's an easy thing to do. All you have to do is reclassify it. And he said, well, it's not so easy. And I said, yeah, it is.
Did he start yelling at you?
No, he was actually like, because he knew that I wasn't ambushing him on the live TV. But it was a private moment.
Did you talk to him at all about the fact that he used to be the guy who yelled at people, and now he's no longer the guy who yells at people? That's like Trump is stealing his yelling at people thunder.
What I asked him on Outnumbered earlier was, how is Donald Trump changing this race, and who would be in the lead if Trump weren't there? And that's one of the things that I want to know. We'll never know that. I mean, that's a variable that has been introduced that has changed everything, and I don't think there's a way of unchanging it. But how do you alter your performance if you are Chris Christie, if you are one of the people who's at the bottom of the top 10?
Well, I mean, the reason that Chris Christie is anyone, the reason that anyone pays attention to him at all is because of his personality, because of the way he handled those things. And you would think that, you know, the bridge business would actually sink him. It doesn't. None of this stuff seems to have an effect on anyone. He
floats naturally.
If you look at it,
you're not sinking that close.
You cannot. I didn't say that. I don't want some, you know, pressure group attacking me.
There's a lot of pressure
as a thin American.
There's a lot of pressure on the belt, that's for sure.
No, I'm also happy to see Carly Fiorina back in it, despite the fact that she didn't defeat the Nazis, which, you know, seems to be your standard for people, you know,
I'm sorry I hate Nazis, Michael. Sorry about it. I know we disagree on this issue.
She was marching in Skokie. It is, look that up, kids.
You know, she hates Illinois Nazis.
She hates Illinois Nazis, but like it'll be. I mean, she's a clever debater, and I think that, you know, this was supposed to be the year that the Republicans had a deep bench.
Yeah.
That is just means there's a lot of people.
They have a mathematically deep bench.
And a wide bench.
On the bench.
Wide bench.
But they're rather shallow and not very deep.
Yeah.
Well, they are intellectually shallow.
Yes, unfortunately.
For sure. I mean, there's not a lot to draw from once you get past immigration, and unfortunately, there's a lot to tackle in this country in order to get the economy going, especially. My panel returns after this to discuss. Oh, more. Yes, the Bush-Trump verbal slap fight, the dust-up that won't settle. And later, Pete Hegseth joins me to grade presidential candidates on their foreign policy, find out who passes and who has to repeat their campaign over the summer. Yeah. Hi, fun things are happening here. So glad you're a part of it. It is campaign season, and that means presidential candidates are tossing verbal hand grenades at one another. This week, it was Trump and Jeb pulling out the pins. Here's an attack ad from Donald Trump.
Yes, they broke the law, but it's not a felony. It's kind of it's an act of love.
Oh my God. Well, that prompted Jeb to finally fight back. Watch this.
I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life, okay? So, you know, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa.
Do you identify more as a Democrat or a Republican?
Well, you'd be shocked if I said that in many cases I probably identify more as a Democrat.
Why are you a Republican?
I have no idea.
Oh, Oh, I'm shocked indeed, Wolf Blitzer. I want to finger your beard. It's time to get out the popcorn as they square off, and the panel is back. I've always got popcorn for them. Will Ron, Michael Malice, and Michael Moynihan. It's Michael, and Will, as it were. So this is what I think of Donald Trump. He strolled into this election like Jeff Ward did in my junior high school. Because before Jeff Ward got there, all the guys wore polo shirts and topsiders and Levi's. It was a pretty boring group. Jeff Ward came to Oregon from San Diego, and he wore flip-flops and board shorts and rated all the girls, not rated. He rated all of them, and he completely changed the dynamic in our junior high school and taught people what it meant to be cool.
I mean, it was when I was watching these ads, I said, this kind of reminds me of Jeff Ward. I don't know if anyone knows him. He's from Oregon. And a long time ago, he really came in and changed the face of your high school. Yeah, no, the first ad here, this Trump ad is amazing. It looks like an SNL ad.
Yeah.
It looks kind of fake. And that, I just literally just watching it now, it reminded me of that great SNL sketch about Mike Dukakis, where he looks over and he's like, I can't believe I'm losing to this guy. And I'm sure Jeb Bush thinks that, like seriously, this guy? But, you know, his counter ad is also not very effective because the footage is like, you know, it's from like the Fatty Arbuckle era. It's like, you know, it's got like a film grain on it. And it's like, yeah, that was like, people changed their minds. I understand, like, my views 10 years ago were very, very different than they are today.
That's right.
And you should confront that at some point, which I don't think he is.
Yeah, no, I think you were a
done.
neo-Nazi 10 years ago, right?
I mean, I guess neo is the word that I object to. But yeah, I had different views.
Because you hate the Matrix.
Michael, how do you feel about this?
First of all, I'm very pleased we got a Fatty Arbuckle reference in a tasteful way.
Yeah. And he was innocent, by the way.
Yeah,
of the charge.
Have a Coke in his
I have never been more of a Trump fan than seeing that he put out a commercial that says "Forget Love." This is what Republicanism should be about. And the thing is, people forget the Bushes know how to play dirty. In 2000, when he ran against.
Oh, I read Kitty Kelly's book. You don't have to tell me, Michael.
Did you read the one about Nancy Reagan? It's superb. Yeah. So when George W. Bush was running against McCain, he had those calls, that robocalls, that was implying that McCain adopted a kid who's a minority and kind of smeared him there. So Jeb Bush can play dirty. They know how to play the game, and I'm kind of impressed that they're hitting Trump below the belt, that's where you have to hit him because he's playing so dirty.
Are we seeing the employment of the Bush doctrine finally in this 2016 presidential campaign?
Forget love.
You know what Donald Trump gets right about Jeb Bush? He is low energy. He's like the least enthusiastic presidential candidate in human history. Yeah. And he gets out there and he's like dumpy and he's got like dandruff and he's hunched over.
He gets cranky at people who are talking behind his back.
And we're all supposed to be impressed. It's like he has this giant war chest and he's going to let commercials like go and ding Donald Trump. Wouldn't it be a little bit more impressive if Jeb Bush could actually stick it to Donald Trump, at least on the stump, hopefully on the debate stage, something like that, actually stand up to the guy?
No, he folded like a
leading from behind.
At a picnic, unfortunately, on the debate stage. Unfortunately for him, because he was the presumed front runner for months and months and months.
Yeah.
And now he's done nothing but lose ground. And I actually think Trump is right. I think Trump is right in that people who attack him, who aren't ready for the counterpunch, they drop even further in the polls.
Totally.
We're going to see that from Jeb because he doesn't have a Trump attack game after this. He blew it. Coming up, more with the panel later. They are going to return in a little bit right here on the show to talk about people celebrating their divorce by taking selfies. A selfie with your ex. Is nothing sacred anymore.
Well, I better ask these fellas how to get back on the expressway.
Pardon me. I wonder if you could tell me how to get back on the expressway. Mama. Thank you very much.
Clark Griswold found it firsthand that some folks in East St. Louis aren't that friendly, but they're nowhere near the top of the list of the most unfriendly cities on the planet. Now, before the break, I asked you which of these cities was the world's least friendly. Is it A, Beirut, B, Moscow, C, New York, or D, Tehran? According to a new survey by Travel and Leisure magazine, the planet's least friendly city, it's Moscow. But don't worry, America's still got 2 of the top 5. Yes. Well done, Atlantic City. You're the least friendly place in the nation. Right there in second place. The panel is back. Will Ron, Michael Malice, and Michael Moynihan. Now, Moynihan, any surprise that Russia has 2 out of the 3 cities on the podium in the top 3?
No, but also when I was looking at this list, like most of the cities are American. I mean, there were so many, like Philadelphia, Baltimore, Las Vegas, New York, Los Angeles, Atlantic City, and then Cannes. It was like, thanks for throwing in one French one, because you know they're not so nice.
No, but Marseille is
yeah, Marseille is in there too. But number 15 was Boston. I was really proud because I am a native of Boston. And there was an expert, they quoted an expert. Oh, God.
Yeah, Malice just did a little upchuck.
Yeah, watch how rude I'm going to be to him. I love the expert was quoted here, Kathy Arnold. Our expert said, fall brings warm days, winters are cold, and summer is hot enough and humid. That was the expert. And then she said, it's number 15. I don't understand this list, is what I'm trying to say to you right now.
That's the problem.
But yeah, no, Boston, we are kind of jerks. We're jerks.
Hey, how you
Stay
doing?
out of our city.
Shout ahead. It's real pissa. All right, L.A. though. L.A. is worse than New York City? Really?
I don't know. I've
Why
been
you gotta
to
be like that?
LA once. New Yorkers are nice. New Yorkers are fine. They're friendly. It's the people who come here from other places. They're the jerks. From people from, say, Boston. You know, they come here and now they feel like entitled. Now I can be a jerk to people every day.
Yeah, because New York has a rough reputation. Let's talk about the French a little bit.
Wait, you're not talking to me about Russia? I was born in the Soviet Union.
Oh, yes, you were.
Yeah, and let me explain why Moscow is the least friendly city. Russians regard foreigners as prey. You are someone to abuse or exploit, and we revel in it, especially the women. So it's absolutely appropriate. But this list was insane because places like Tehran and Damascus and Pyongyang, they're not on this list.
Raqqa is not friendly.
You know why? It's because readers of travel and leisure don't travel to places
but
like
readers
Tehran.
don't go to Boston.
I will also say in defense of Tehran that everybody I know who's been there says it's the nicest city on the planet. Everyone's super nice.
Well, it's the nicest city in that part of Iran, certainly.
I mean, you know, okay.
Pretty good. Well, according to a new study, blind people, they aren't necessarily colorblind when it comes to race. Findings indicate that the visually impaired still form opinions of people based on skin color, even though they can't see it, like with this man.
We're looking for Clayton Bigsby.
Well, look no further, fella. You found me.
Clayton Bigsby, the author?
What, you don't think I can write them books? Just because I'm blind don't mean I'm dumb.
How could this have happened? A black white supremacist.
That's absolutely right. It's quite moving. I think that the people who authored this study weren't giving blind people enough credit. What do you think?
Yeah, it's deeply patronizing. This is the soft bigotry of low expectations for the visually impaired. Yeah, no, that they can't be just as awful as the rest of us.
Yes.
By the way, do you think this study came from somebody just watching that sketch and saying, you know, I could do a study. People will pay me to do this. We'll talk about this on television.
And it will remind them of the Chappelle Show. Michael, I have a simple question for you.
Yes.
What is racism?
Racism is when a conservative is winning an argument with a liberal. Now, what I feel bad
Thank you, Phyllis Schlafly.
You're that's the greatest compliment you could have given me. Who's loony now? Who's loony now? China's fallen to the red Chinese. Who's loony now? I actually read her book. It's amazing, A Choice Land Echo. No, what I feel bad about with blind racists is they can't look over their shoulder to see who's in the room before they tell the best jokes.
They don't,
right,
they don't have to, because even if they look around.
Like the ones you're telling me in the green room about minorities?
I don't look over.
No, you've always said that,
I embrace it.
You don't trust blind people. Does this just reinforce that?
I don't. And I mean, I don't think we have long enough time in this segment. I do have a very, very sort of drawn out reason for this.
Sure.
And I do like to usually follow Judge Bork with a little sort of softer thing on this. I do, what is racist? I don't know what the standards are that they're using and how they, because it is, I pointed this out in a column one time, is that you know, racism is literally the most toxic charge in public life, in one that requires the lowest evidentiary standard. Is that if you, a friend of mine wrote a column the other day, and it was a really mild thing about Miley Cyrus and all this stuff, and being called on Twitter a white supremacist by multiple people, and I realized, like, we have really debased the meaning of this very potent and necessary word. So I don't know what it means anymore.
Do you think,
so I can't tell if blind people
in American society, is it harder to be Paula Deen or Jared Fogle?
Oh,
I got an O from two people.
No, this is easy. This is Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle is going to jail.
He's going to jail. She's not.
He's going to jail. His life is over. Paula Deen's going to be on, like, Dancing with the former stars.
At the same time, if he was still alive, Allen Ginsberg would defend Jared Fogle as a former member of NAMBLA.
Yeah.
That's true. He was. Yeah, it's true.
Chicken Hawk. All right. What?
Who's loony now?
Who's
loony now?
Divorces can be so sad and drawn out, filled with fights, but a new social trend, it's a social media trend rather, for couples who amicably divorce is to take happy selfies after they've filled out their paperwork. Is this a positive development? Malice, what's worse than this? The selfie, the divorce selfie, or the term conscious uncoupling?
Conscious uncoupling sounds like a sexual term, frankly.
Wow.
But I'm wondering if they had that.
Wow, Phyllis, that's where your mind is.
I guess I'm loony now. I'm wondering if they had one last fight over which filter to use on Instagram, because she's going to look better in one of them.
I want Prima. No, I want Ludwig. I told you. Well, I'm not Jake Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's how he would say it. That's not how I would say it. Honestly, I'm learned, Michael.
Yeah, it was great. I loved the singer for Four Non-Blondes there in front of an eagle. Like, you know, it was very patriotic end to it. I mean, look, it's better than having an acrimonious divorce, isn't it? I mean, like, I don't understand why people are offended by it.
I think people are worried that it promotes divorce. Like, yay!
But like, who is having like a great relationship and sees a story in the Daily Mail and is like, you know what? I think I'm going to get divorced now.
Phyllis Schlafly is the answer to your question.
Possibly.
Now, Will, you always say that divorcees make the best dates. Explain.
Again, that's a long theory. That's going to take some time to actually explain.
If they're blind.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you might get in trouble with the FCC.
Longer than Jared Fogel's prison sentence.
well, I don't want to go into comparisons, but this is like a really good thing. I'm with Michael on this. This is nice, and it's teaching the kids that come out of the divorce that, you know, when you have breakups when you're older and you willed, it doesn't have to be all like whiskey and tears and regret and everything. You can say, I'm making this positive change for myself. Yeah. It's a nice thing. Yeah. It's good for the kids.
It means marriage, because they're saying divorce isn't that big of a deal, and that means that marriage isn't that big of a deal. So I'm going to be earnest.
That's what makes me sad about it. I think it's kind of sad to teach kids like, oh well, you know,
we tried.
Better luck next time.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Take another at bat and
do we really
see if you can knock it into the stands.
I really think
people are still going to be afraid of divorce. I mean, it's divorce. Nobody goes into divorce. It's like divorce. This is going to be fun.
Yeah,
this is going to be a good time.
If you're a Russian and you like to be cruel, then yeah, you're like, bring it on. I'm going to make you suffer. Ask my parents. They did it.
Well, I have not suffered. I have thrived during this panel. Michael and Will, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Beautiful night.